Okay, today we're going to review some dividing decimals some more. The purpose of this video is not homework. It's to help students review dividing decimals and make corrections if needed on page 295 and 296. If at any time the pace is too fast, stop the video and rewind. Get out notebook, paper, and your corrections if you need to, and let's get started. We're going to do number 5, 6, and 7. So if this is a review, you're just going to get out and go ahead and stop the video and write it down. And if it say corrections, you'll need to write them down and work them with me. Here we go. So first thing, I don't have any decimals, so I don't have to bring anything up. I'm going to put a times mark here. What times 2 will give me to 1? Nothing. 0 times 2 is 0. I subtract and get 1, and I bring down my 3. What times 2 equals 13? 6 times 2 is 12. That's the closest I can get to 13. I subtract and I get a 1. I'm working with decimals today, so I can't make a fractional remainder. Instead, I'm going to put a decimal there. I'm going to extend my line, bring my decimal up to the top, get me a placeholder 0, and that does not change the value. I only get to use it as a tool to get rid of my remainder. What times 2 will get me to 10? 5 times 2 will get me to 10. I subtract and I don't have any remainder. I now need to check my answer. I'm going to take my quotient, that's my answer to the problem, and my divisor, the number on the outside, and multiply them together to see if it equals my dividend. 5 times 2 is 10. Put my 0 down, carry my 1. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13. I have one number behind the decimals. One number would be behind the decimal in my answer, and I check to see if they match. Sure enough, they match. So I believe that my answer is 6 5/10. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I've got 5 and 58 hundredths divided by 9. First thing I'm going to do is bring this decimal to the top. I'm going to put me a multiplication symbol right here because we solved this by using multiplication. So what times 9 will get me to 5? Nothing. I subtract. I bring down my 5, ignoring the decimal. What times 9 will get me close to 55? Closest I can get is 6 times 9 is 54. And I subtract and I get 1. And I bring down my 8. What times 9 will get me to 18? 2. 2 times 9 is 18. And I subtract and I get 0. So now I'm ready to check my answer. I check my answer by taking my quotient, 62 hundredths times my divisor, 9. 9 times 2 is 18, carry my 1. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 1 is 55. I have 2 numbers behind the decimal, so I have 2 in my answer. And I check to see if it matches my divisor. Sure enough, it does. So my answer is 62 hundredths. And I'm ready to go to my next question. Number 7. Number 7 is 27 6/10 divided by 8. So I'm going to bring my decimal up, put my multiplication symbol there. What times 8 will get me to 2? Nothing. Subtract, I get 7. I get 2 and I bring down my 7. What times 8 will get me close to 27? 3 times 8 will get me to 24. I subtract and I get 3 and I bring down my 6, ignoring the decimal. What times 8 will get me to 36? The closest I can get is 4. 4 times 8 is 32. And I'm going to subtract and I'll get 4. So I can't leave it as a remainder, so I have to add a placeholder 0. That does not change the value of it. Bring it down to eliminate the remainder. What times 8 equals 40? 5 times 8 equals 40. And I don't have any remainders. So now I'm ready to check my answer. I'm going to take my dividend, 3, and not my dividend, I'm sorry, my quotient. Got it confused there for a second. Sorry, my quotient, and multiply times my divisor to get my dividend. I got my D's all confused. 8 times 5 is 40. Put my 0 down, carry my 4. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 is 36. Put my 6 down and carry my 3. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 3 is 27. How many numbers are behind my decimals? There's 2, so 2 would be in my answer, and I'm going to check, and sure enough, it matches my dividend, so that means this is my answer right here. Highlight it up. So how'd you do? Let's do some more. Here's number 8 and 9. I'll bring my decimal up. Whoops. Bring my decimal up, put my multiplication sign right there. What times 7 will get me 3? Nothing. I subtract, I get 3, bring down my 0. What times 7 will get me to 30? Closest I can get is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. And I subtract and I get 2. Ignore my decimal and bring down my 1. What times 7 equals 21? 3 times 7 is 21. I subtract. I don't get anything. I bring down my 7. What times 7 equals 7? 1 times 7 equals 7. I don't have any more remainders, so I'm ready to check my answer. I take my quotient, that's the answer I think it is, time my divisor, because here it is, the quotient times the divisor should equal the dividend. We kind of have it modeled up there for us. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry my 2. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 2 is 30. I have 2 numbers behind the decimal. I should have 2 numbers behind the decimal in my product. And does it equal my dividend? Sure enough. So here is my answer. Highlighted here. We're ready to go to the next question. 15 divided by 4. No decimals to take up. Put my times mark. What times 4 will give me 1? Nothing. Subtract and bring down my 5. What times 4 equals 15? Closest I can get is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract and I get 3. I'm not doing fractional remainders. I'm doing I've got to get the answer in decimal form. So I put my decimal down. I take it to the top and add me a placeholder 0. I did not change the value of 15. But I am going to be able to use that 0 to get rid of my remainder. What times 4 equals 30? Well, the closest I can get is, whoops, made a mistake there. Closest I can get to it is 7. 7 times 4 is 28. When I subtract, I get 2. Got to get me another placeholder 0. I'm going to extend that line. Bring it down. What times 4 equals 20? Well, 5 times 4 equals 20. And I subtract. I don't have any more remainder, so I think I'm done. I'm going to check my answer. I'm going to take my quotient and multiply it by 4, and I should get the dividend. You'll see it modeled right there to help you remember that's what you're to do. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry my 2. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. Put my 0 down, carry my 3. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Got 2 numbers behind the decimal, 2 numbers behind the decimal in my problem, and it checks out. So here is my answer, and let's move on to the next one. So our next one is 15 and 16. It says Sarah is making punch for our party. Her punch bowl holds 600 ounces for 80 servings of punch. How many ounces of punch are in each serving? So 600 is our whole that we're going to be splitting up. And we need to split it into 80 groups. So if we were going to draw a picture of it, I would take, this would represent my 600, and I would need to make 80 slices. Well, we know that I couldn't make 80 slices and figure out how much was exactly in there, so the only way I can do is use division. But I know that one of these slices is what I'm going to be, my answer is looking like. So I'm thinking about it. My 600 is going to go on the inside because that's what I'm splitting up. And my 80 is going to be on the outside because that's my group. So let's, no decimal to take up, and I put my multiplication sign right there. What times 80 will get me to 6? Nothing. What times 80 will get me to 60? Nothing. Bring down my 0. What times 80 will get me to 600? So I'm going to think of my math facts and ignore my 0. And what times 8 will get me to 60? Well, the closest I can do is get 7. 7 times 80 is 560. So that's the closest I can get to it. So that's the remainder of 4, but I've got 40. So I'm going to put my decimal here. Bring my decimal to the top. Put a placeholder 0, which will not change the value. What times 80 will get me to 400? Well, 5 times 80 will get me 400. And so I believe my answer is 7 and 5/10. So let's see if we can check it. 7 and 5/10 times 80. Mark it out. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry my 4. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 4 is 60. I've got one number behind the decimal, one number in my answer, and sure enough, it matches. My answer here is C. Then it says, how many cups can Sarah's punch bowl hold? And right here it tells us that there's 8. So I'm now going to take that punch bowl that had 600, and I need to slice it into groups of 8. I need 8 groups in it, and I need to know how many groups of 8 I can make. So we're going to be doing division. I went ahead and finished up that problem. We're just about out of time, so check it over. I did the division and got 75. Our next one says Nathan drove 275 2/10 miles on 8 gallons of gas. It tells us to divide 275 2/10 by 8 to find the average numbers of miles per gallon Nathan's cars get. So it drawn me a little quick model here. We're going to make it into 8 groups, and here's my problem. I'm going to solve it. Because we're short on time, I've got it solved. Stop the video and look how it's solved. Got 34 and 4/10, and we checked it. Got one more problem to do. Last one says the school auditorium has 3 sections of seating. One section with 16 rows with 14 seats, and the other 2